hear about that. Even describing something like that, it sounds like it was a really traumatic event. Can you tell me a little bit about, I'm assuming you got x-rays or you got MRIs afterwards. Do you know what the doctors found?
I did. So I went inside, just the pure adrenaline and being scared. I went inside. Well, the next day I get up or tried to get up. I couldn't. And I had my boyfriend at the time. I said, get a towel. I said, twist it and let me make a neck brace of it. And I drove myself to the doctor's office, the hospital. And they took x-rays. They said I fractured 2 discs and had the slightly fractured 2 discs and had herniated a couple, and they wanted me to start physical therapy. Well, at the age of 22, most of us don't have insurance and stuff like that, and I was like, no, I'll wear the neck brace and I'll be fine. Well, about 4 years later, it started bothering me more, so I decided to go to an orthopedic surgeon. He was like, immediately, let's do surgery. And he wanted to fuse 3 or 4 discs, and I'm like, I'm getting a second opinion. So I went to a neurosurgeon, and he said, no, until you have, complete, like numbing in a part of your body or something like that, let's hold off, because once we start fusing them, the ones below them and above them will start wearing out. Yeah. And now I'm looking at having the surgery because I'm having headaches. But I'm 50, so it's been 38 years or 28 years, and I'm thinking, okay, well, do I really need to have surgery? I really don't want to fuse and lose all my mobility. And then they came up with something called a MOBI, which is like a ball joint thing, and they can fuse a couple of them and then replace a couple of them. And
well, let me ask Alan this for you, Danielle, and that is, if the physical pain goes away and subsides, let's say several years after the physical episode, Alan, does the brain sometimes still trick you and create this chronic pain syndrome?
So that was a great catch, George. That's actually one of the things that we look for is inconsistency of symptoms. What you experienced, Danielle, was a legitimate injury. But I want to say 2 things. First of all, fractures heal. We've all broken a finger, broken an arm, or broken a leg, and fractures heal. You said that the doctors looked at your MRI and said you herniated a couple discs in the injury. There's a very good chance that you had those disc herniations even before the injury. Like I said earlier, 64% of people with no back pain have disc bulges and disc herniations. There were no MRIs to compare to before, so there's a very good chance that it's very hard to herniate a disc. I've had orthopedic surgeons tell me, you pretty much need to fall off a 3rd-story balcony to herniate a disc. That stuff usually happens is wear and tear over time. So even though the doctors told you that, I don't necessarily buy the fact that those disc herniations did not even precede the incident. But you go in, you get an MRI, they say that's what's going on. So like George pointed out, oftentimes when the pain goes away and comes back, that is indicative of the brain can actually learn and remember the pain. And so then when we're in times of stress, those neural pathways can be activated. So, it's very possible that this is what could be going on with you, Dana. You had that injury, the idea that there was something wrong with your back was reinforced by doctors. You start getting pain in certain positions or certain activities. They're talking about surgery, you're thinking about it all the time, you have a lot of fear around it. But it's very possible that your injury healed and your brain subsequently, learned and remembered the pain, and that you might be able to get out of this pain without even engaging in surgery or any of those other physical interventions.
Kicks it into high gear. Danielle, thanks for the call. Next up, we go to Bob in San Pedro, California. Welcome to the program. Hi, Bob.
Hi, George. How are you doing?
Okay. Hope you are too.
I'm doing okay. Hello, Professor. Thanks for taking the call. I'm 60 years old. I used to weigh at one point almost 600 pounds.
Wow.
I went gastric bypass, and I'm now at about 300 pounds, 19 years later. Lots of trauma from age 7 to 21. So basically, I'm dealing with phenomenal knee pain all the time. And, I do deal with opioids. Currently, I'm on buprenorphine, which is an opioid agonist. I know that I have a blood-brain issue where, I've been told by a couple of doctors through UCLA that you may feel something as a 1 on the pain threshold, and I may feel it as a 7 or an 8.
And it's the same pain threshold, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
And that's actually what we're talking about, Bob, is, your brain has the capacity to actually amplify the intensity of these sensations, which is this neuroplastic pain. So, it could be a normal, for me or George, it might just be a normal sensation that we feel in our knee. But if your brain interprets it through a lens of danger, it's processed as pain, and you're in agony.
Interesting. I was getting in my daughter's car this weekend, and I bumped my knee, and I felt it. I mean, I felt it, Alan, and I said to myself, this is going to screw up my jogging a week and everything else, because I work out 4 days a week.
Yeah.
But I let my brain take over, and in 2 days, I didn't feel anything. Nothing. The soreness from the bump went away, and there was no subsequent pain after that. I surprised myself.
That's a great recovery story, but it's true. A lot of times what happens is, you made a really good point that immediately when you had the pain, you thought, this is going to screw up my week. How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? And for a lot of people, it's that fear and the preoccupation around the pain. It takes hold and fuels the pain so that even after the injury recovers, they're still feeling it. Thank goodness that didn't happen to you.
Absolutely. Where do people get your book?
They can actually get the book anywhere books are sold. You can get it on Amazon. You can get it at a bookstore. You can get it on we actually put up a website for the book, thewayoutbook.com, but really wherever books are sold.
We're going to take more calls in just a few moments with Alan Gordon when we come back after the break. This is amazing work that you're doing, Alan. Can people email you through your website?
Yeah, people can reach out to us through our website. We created, a lot of different communities. We have a Facebook group. We have other ways where different chronic pain sufferers could support each other and learn about these tools. Actually, in the book, we reference a website, painreprocessingtherapy.com, where you can get a list of practitioners who can diagnose you with this and different therapists who can treat it. And, there's a link to different forums where you can get information, but absolutely there's a wealth of information out there.
Alan, you do just remarkable work. What's next for you? What's the next project?
Well, we have really the ultimate goal of a paradigm shift in the way that chronic pain is understood and treated. Like I told you, Casey, that kid we treated on the doctors,
right.
His insurance company spent $250,000 on it in the 2 years before we saw him. And we were able, he saw us for a few weeks, and he was out of pain and back in school in less than a month. And so to me, it's really tragic. 20% of the healthcare budget, the United States healthcare budget, goes toward treating chronic pain. $650 billion per year going toward chronic pain. It is there are treatments that are being used that are ineffective. It is the most catastrophic inefficiency in healthcare. So really, this book that we wrote is just a means to an end. It's a way of getting this treatment out there, but ultimately we're looking for a paradigm shift in the way that chronic pain is treated and understood, and hoping that the medical community will follow suit. And when the study comes out next month, we think that the study, in conjunction with the book, they're doing a big documentary about it. We really think we're in the early stages of that paradigm shift.
Oh, it'll be dramatic, Alan. We're going to come back and take final calls in a moment on Coast to Coast AM.
death penalty and banning gas engines. I'm Johnny D'Agostini from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. California's Supreme Court is striking down an attempt to change the state's death penalty law. The Los Angeles Times reports the state's highest court unanimously voted against a law that would make it more difficult to impose the death penalty. Under the current law, a jury does not have to unanimously agree on capital punishment. California reinstated the death penalty in 1977. Several leading candidates for the California governor recall election took part in another debate this week. The wide-ranging topics included what they would do to resolve the state's water shortage. Here's Republican Assembly Member Kevin Kiley.
Rationing should not be an option. If we had political leaders who were exercising any semblance of political leadership, we would have figured this out a long time ago.
San Diego's Kevin Faulconer has his view on the lack of water in the state.
Every time we're in a drought is take a shorter shower. That's not going to cut it.
Democrat Kevin Paffrath believes he has the answer to the state's water shortage.
A pipeline to the Mississippi River.
Taking part in the debate on KCRA-TV was Kiley, Republican John Cox, Kevin Faulconer, and Democrat Kevin Paffrath. The fight against the proposed ban on small gas-powered engines faces a crucial test. Assemblyman Mark Berman says they will ease in the ban if it passes.
You can't buy new gas-powered equipment after either 2024 for most of the small off-road engines or 2028 for small generators.
So the ban would only apply to newly bought engines. This is in an effort to combat climate change. Critics say rural residents rely on portable generators during wildfires and public safety power shutoffs. Assemblyman Berman says if the bill passes, the California Air Resources Board has the authority to waive these rules at any time. Southland weather from KFI, sunny skies today, around 80 at the beaches, low 90s in Metro LA, low 100s in the Valley, and mid 100s in the Inland Empire. It's 73 degrees in Anaheim, 67 in Simi Valley, 64 degrees at Venice Beach. We lead local from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. I'm Johnny D'Agostini.
In Sylmar, we have a full freeway closure. This is on the 210 westbound from Roxford to the 5. Caltrans going to be taking away all lanes until 5. Tarzana, this is on the 101 northbound at Reseda Boulevard. We have a crash and emergency crews that have all lanes blocked there. Your drive is starting to stack up from well before White Oak. Huntington Beach, there's a full freeway closure. 405 southbound from Beach Boulevard to Magnolia. All lanes are going to be shut down there until 5. KFI in the Sky helps get you there faster. I'm Brian Vance.
It's the word mattress stores can't stop shouting every Labor Day holiday. Sale! Sale!
Right, Dad, but what good is getting the lowest price on the wrong mattress?
So this Labor Day, come to Sit and Sleep, where our exclusive bed match technology scientifically measures you for just the right mattress.
Save 50% off select mattresses, and with your good credit, pay 0% financing for 36 months.
So this Labor Day, don't settle for a low price on the wrong mattress.
Trust your sleep to Sit and Sleep. There are no limits to what we can do together. So let's keep rising, California.
Esquina, esquina, y ahí nos vamos. El mundo es grande, pero lo tengo en mis manos. Estoy muy duro, sí, ok, vamos. Y con el tiempo nos seguimos elevando.
Get vaccinated and wear a mask when it can protect you and others. Your actions save lives. To learn more, visit covid19.ca.gov.
¿Y dónde está mi gente?
Did you miss the Trump rally last weekend? Every major cable news channel refused to carry it except for Newsmax. Over 5 million Americans tuned into Newsmax to watch the rally. Newsmax is now the fastest growing cable news channel in America. The place for real news you can trust. Newsmax is on all the major cable systems. If your system doesn't carry it, call them. Tell them you want it. Newsmax also streams free on smart TVs like Samsung, LG, and on apps like Roku, Amazon Fire, Zumo, Pluto, and more. 7 million people have the Newsmax app on their smartphone. You'll love the Newsmax app. It takes seconds to download it on your phone, and there's no paywall or subscription. So here's what you do. You watch Newsmax for breaking news and find out why tens of millions of Americans are tuning into Newsmax TV and going to Newsmax.com for breaking news. Watch Newsmax TV today.
In 1775, the patriot Patrick Henry said, "Give me liberty or give me death." Hello, I'm John Okoyan, owner of Rooter Hero Plumbing. Today, I feel it has become, take my liberties, just keep me safe. My late father cherished the freedoms our nation's founders fought for. Still, he would have gotten vaccinated just to be able to work long hours to provide for his family. He would have done whatever it takes, mandate or not. That's who my dad was. As we approach Labor Day, there are less people in the workplace. I feel for restaurant owners, mom and pop bakeries, venues, and retail stores who are struggling to stay open. At Rooter Hero, we are blessed to have men and women who will do whatever it takes to help you. Our team worked through all of 2020, and they are here for you in 2021. It's your trust in us that keeps Rooter Hero Plumbing going. Thank you.
Everybody needs a hero. RooterHero.com.
CL 102-8886.
Mo Kelly here from KFI AM 640. Even if you're young and healthy or have already had COVID-19, it's still important that you get vaccinated because being vaccinated means you're less likely to get or spread the virus. That makes life safer for you and people around you, especially those who can't get vaccinated. It's not just about protecting yourself. It's about saving lives in your community. So let's get you vaccinated. Let's get to immunity. Visit myturn.ca.gov to find walk-in sites near you or call 833-422-4255. Brought to you by the California Department of Public Health.
Win your way to our 2021 iHeartRadio Music Festival, September 17th and 18th.
T-Mobile Arena here in Las Vegas.
Coming live to iHeartRadio stations across America and streaming free on the CW app and CWTV.com. You'll see Billie Eilish, Cheap Trick, Coldplay, Dua Lipa, Phineas, Florida Georgia Line, J. Cole, Journey, Khalid, Lil Baby, Maroon 5, Nelly, Sam Hunt, Weezer, and more. Listen every weekday to win your way there.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Really enjoy being a Coast Insider. Now here's something for you if you're suffering from a little anxiety.
If you feel stressed, suffer from fatigue, moodier than usual, or would like to fall asleep easier and sleep more soundly while losing weight, do we have something for you? Accelerate and Elevate. I take Elevate Performance Supplement in the morning for energy and laser focus for work. Then before bed, I take Accelerate, weight management and sleep combo. And indeed, I now sleep soundly through the night. Plus I'm losing weight. It's amazing.
I've maybe gotten 4 to 5 hours of sleep max a night. I'm sleeping between 6 and 7. I wake up to use the bathroom, but I go right back to sleep, which has never happened before, which is pretty awesome.
I noticed a higher level of happiness. I also noticed that I wasn't taking naps. I had more energy. I was more in the moment with my kids. Like, we were laughing more. We were more excited. Every single person needs to feel this.
I lost 10 pounds and 5.5 inches off my waist, and I'm so proud of myself. It gives you energy. It helps you sleep better. It just works. I stand by it 100%.
I was on a handful of medications to help me sleep, to help me be happy, tons of therapy. When I'm ready to go to sleep, I'm getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night. I've lost some pounds, inches mainly. My family has me back.
Try Accelerate and Elevate, discounted for listeners to the show. Plus, further discounts with the George's Power Pack, including a free gift. Learn more and order now at healthylooking.com. That's healthylooking.com or 800-394-9930. So jump on the path now to all-day energy, better focus, better sleep, and weight loss with Accelerate and Elevate at healthylooking.com. That's healthylooking.com or 800-394-9930.
At 45 years old, I was in so much physical pain, I was truly dreading getting any older. I had weak bones, achy joints, weight that wouldn't go away, almost no energy, and constant brutal headaches. I was falling apart physically and mentally. I searched desperately for alternatives to the pain management traditional doctors offered. I tried alternative medicines with no positive results. Then I heard Dr. Joel Wallach on Coast to Coast with George Norrie and decided to give his unique recommendation 90 days. It took less than a month to feel results, and I've lost 95 pounds. I'm off all pain medications and pharmaceuticals. Best of all, the pain is gone. I look forward to my future. This is Rebecca Kozak, and if pain has you dreading your future, don't suffer through another day. Visit criticalhealthnews.com. Sign up to receive the newsletter, Dr. Wallach's 10 Bad Foods, and tons of invaluable nutritional advice. Call 855-949-RADIO to speak to an experienced nutritional consultant. That's 855-949-7234 and criticalhealthnews.com.
If you're drowning in IRS debt and can't afford to pay, then you need to take advantage of special IRS tax programs that are available and free yourself from IRS collection efforts once and for all. Due to the financial hardship consumers are facing throughout the country, the Internal Revenue Service has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems. An open phone line has been established by Community Tax for consumers to call and see if they qualify. Take down this number or store it in your cell phone, but call the Community Tax Helpline at 800-256-2143. If you owe back taxes to the IRS and cannot afford to pay them back, or even if you have years of unfiled tax returns, there's no need to fear anymore. But you have to call the Community Tax Helpline today at 800-256-2143 for the help that you need. Don't take on the IRS alone. They can attack your wages, savings, pension, home, and even your Social Security check. Call 800-256-2143 for your free consultation and to see if you qualify. That's 800-256-2143.
And welcome back to Coast. George Norrie with you, along with Alan Gordon, author of The Way Out. We're talking about the pain management, and let's go back to the phones. Alicia's with us in the state of Washington. Welcome to the show. Hi, Alicia.
Hi, George. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you. Thanks for holding so long.
No problem. I'm a first-time caller, but a long-time listener. So.
Oh, great. Good to have you with us. So are you under chronic pain? What's going on with you?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, I want to thank Alan for, helping people with chronic pain. I've been dealing with chronic pain for over 7 years now, and I'm 30 years old. The first 5 years was like my whole body was screaming in pain, but luckily now it's calmed down quite a bit and it's kind of more localized.
Did anything happen to you physically? Did you get into an accident or anything like that?
No, nothing, started it that we can think of. It's kind of been gradual. But I believe that a certain medication really helped me, and I was wondering if Alan had any insight on it. It was called low-dose naltrexone. I think it just kind of calmed down my whole overactive pain response.
All right, take it away, Alan.
And I'm sorry, could you repeat your name? Did you say Alicia?
Alicia, yeah.
Alicia.
Alicia.
So, Alicia, yeah, you have what I'm guessing a lot of physicians would diagnose as fibromyalgia. Have you been given that diagnosis, or?
Yeah, fibromyalgia, and more recently, Ehlers-Danlos syndrome as well.
Yeah, that is a connective tissue disorder, but it's really, generally speaking, many people with that condition are asymptomatic, and it's overdiagnosed. But I'm guessing what's going on. I have been given a dozen different diagnoses. I had headaches. I was told I had high cerebrospinal fluid pressure. Chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, pretty much everything under the sun. And so I'm not surprised that you got a diagnosis. But when you go on a medication like that, oftentimes what it can do is it could calm down your nervous system.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it isn't necessarily that, as we talked about earlier, pain is a danger signal. And a lot of fear and stress and preoccupation and worry and pressure, those are things that could amplify pain. So when you go on a medication that calms down your nervous system, it kind of indirectly reduces your pain as a result. But I'm guessing what's going on with you is that your brain is interpreting, especially the fact that, George, you were asking earlier about different ways to determine whether or not you have this neuroplastic pain, the brain-based pain, or if it's a structural injury.
Right.
And one of the things that we look for is exactly what you're talking about. If the pain spreads or moves or changes, and the fact that, Alicia, you were saying that your pain started out all over your body and now it's more localized, that is not consistent with a disease process. That is not consistent with a structural injury. So that, in my opinion, would be a large piece of evidence that you have pain that's being generated by your brain. The pain is 100% real, but your brain is actually interpreting danger where there is none. And I'm guessing our treatment approach will help you.
I think so too, and she's had it for 5 years. That's a long time.
Yeah. It's a long time to suffer like that.
All right, good luck.
It can actually change the brain. when you've had a lot of pain like that.
Well, when she said nothing's happened to her, she didn't get into an accident or a fall or anything like that. That makes her a prime candidate for what you're talking about.
That's a great point. About 50% of the people we work with, the pain just arises spontaneously. There isn't any injury that precedes it, and that's one of the things that we look for. And probably half the people, it started with an injury, and then the injury heals, and the pain persists. So she would definitely be in that category of someone where the pain just arose in the absence of an injury, which is a huge piece of evidence that it's being caused by her brain.
East of the Rockies, Rich is with us in Wheatley, Massachusetts. Hey, Rick.
Hey, good morning, George.
Good to have you with us, Rich. Thank you.
Alan, how are you this morning?
Good. Thanks for calling in, Rick.
I do appreciate you taking the call. I was 24 years old when I broke my back. 1987. I ended up having a spondylolisthesis outside S1. Pardon me. I had a spinal fusion done in 1990.
Oh, geez.
I have dealt with chronic pain since then. I'm 58 years old this year, and I guess my question is, I have gone through years of dealing with pain and medications and therapies and things of that nature, but pain draws anybody into some of the blackest places that the soul can possibly go. You can mental gymnastics trying to escape it throughout the years. And the other people that I've spoken to through the years who deal with the same thing. And I guess what my question would be for you is, have you, with so much repetitive chronic pain conditioning that people go through, how can that be changed? How can you change the neuroplasticity so we do start feeling relief from our suffering?
Rick, that's actually a great question, and I was very curious when we went into the study. Are the patients in the study who've had pain for 6 months going to overcome their pain any quicker than patients who have had pain for 40 years? And the answer was no. The answer was, in the study that we did, just as many patients who've had pain for decades were pain-free at the end of 4 weeks as the patients who've had pain just for 6 months or a year. And the reason is I hear what you're saying. You're saying, I've had pain for so long, and every time I sit or every time I walk, the pain is being reinforced. Those neural pathways are so deeply ingrained. But when you start developing corrective experiences and you're able to engage in these behaviors or engage in these positions and not have pain, the brain can learn very quickly. There was a football player in the study. I mentioned him earlier, and he had a 9mm disc herniation, a 7mm disc herniation. You look at his spine, and it looks like he had been in a horrific car accident, and he had pain every time he stood for 30 years.
Ouch!
And
oh my God.
They actually did a documentary of the study. It's going to be coming out next year, and he was the patient that they randomly chose to follow through the documentary. And so we actually have this amazing footage on film. We did a 15-minute somatic tracking exercise where I had him stand, and I had him do the somatic tracking exercise where he was able to attend to the sensation in his back through a lens of safety. And I had him, sit down and then do it again and sit down. And by the end of a 15-minute session, he was able to stand pain-free for the first time in 30 years.
That's incredible.
He's never had pain standing since. So, Rick, when I hear you say, these neural pathways are so deeply ingrained and I've been in pain for so long, how could that be unconditioned? If you have just a few corrective experiences, the brain can learn very quickly. And in this case, remarkably, he was able to overcome 30 years of pain in 15 minutes just by getting these corrective experiences, by having the experience of standing pain-free.
That's fantastic. Next up, let's go to Mario in Roseland, Florida. Welcome to the show. Hi, Mario. Still with us? Wait, once, twice. He's back there somewhere. Mario?
Yeah, I heard something in the background. Trying.
I'm going to have to let him go. He's been on hold for like 50 minutes. He probably fell asleep or something. I was interviewing a witch once, Ellen, and she was lying on her couch, I guess, doing the interview, And all of a sudden I could hear her snoring in the background. Trying to wake her up. Wake up!
That happened to me. I was doing a meditation exercise with one of my friends. I was guiding him through this meditation. We were outside. He was on a lounge chair, and I'm talking him through this meditation, and I can just see he's getting so deeply into it. I'm thinking, like, this is the greatest guided meditation ever, and then he starts snoring. I'm like, okay, this did not go well.
Let's go to Susan in Roseville, California. Hi, Susan.
Hi. I am one of those people that you were talking about that I used to be in really bad pain, and I fell and I injured my back and I ruptured a disc and I herniated another disc, and I had back surgery 30 years ago. Mm-hmm. And then even after the surgery really helped because I couldn't even walk before I had my surgery. My back was just like all swollen in the back there, and when I tried to stand up, I would feel faint, and my leg would go up in the back to protect the sciatic nerve. The leg was all numb there. So they did surgery. They did a laminectomy on me. I could walk the next day with an old baby walker, and I was really, young then. Yeah. And but what I wanted to know is, did I train my brain to get rid of the pain? Because as it continued, I ended up going to the gym because I'd lost all my muscles and everything. Built that all back and seemed to help. And then I ended up injuring myself at the gym, tore up all the scar tissue, so I had to start going to a chiropractor.
So it sounds like you want to know is it possible that your brain could have learned that pain early on and circle back?
Yeah, because then I started, eating healthy and everything. I started going to a chiropractor, seemed to really help a lot. But now I don't even need to go. I just stretch myself, and my doctor told me that don't even have children. My back was so bad. I have scoliosis way back.
I got to tell you, was it Susan?
Yeah, degenerative.
I got to tell you, Susan, you brought up a really interesting point. Is so often physicians, well-meaning physicians, there definitely isn't any malintent, but they'll say things like, don't even have kids, or I had a physician tell me, you're just going to need to get used to being in pain because you're going to be in pain forever. And,
the rest of your life, jeez.
The rest of your life. And, the medical community currently looks at chronic pain as something that can only be managed, not cured. In fact, if you look on the website for the Mayo Clinic, one of the most prestigious medical facilities in the world, it says chronic pain can be managed and not cured. And that is just not true. There's a fundamental misunderstanding of chronic pain in the medical community. We're not in the business of pain management. I had a doctor tell me once, what if we could get your pain 50% down, right? It was a 6 out of 10. My back pain and my headaches were really bad. And he said, what if we can get it down to a 3? And I remember saying to him,
please.
No, that's not enough.
You want to get it down to a 1 or a 0, right?
You need to get rid of it. That was the amazing thing about this study we did in Boulder is these patients started out in a 4 out of 10 pain. And like I said, they'd been in pain for over a decade on average. And by the end of the study, 2/3 of them were down to a 0 or a 1. Chronic pain is something that can be eliminated in most people.
Let's go. Susan, thank you. We're going to go to Jeremy in North Dakota. And wait till you hear this story, Alan. Go ahead, Jeremy.
Hello. Thanks for wishing me first happy birthday on the 9th.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
Great.
And first I want to tell you my tragic story. On December 8, 2003, I was driving a Kia Rio up an icy hill. A Ford pickup slid clear across my lane, hit my Kia Rio head-on in my shoulder at about 25 miles an hour. The airbag and the seatbelt in my Kia Rio did not work at all. Immediately, I was in a coma for 2.5 months. When I woke up from the coma, they told me I broke both femurs, shattered both kneecaps, broke a foot, almost got my left pinky cut off, and injured my little brain. And
what kind of pain were you in during that time, Jeremy?
I had a chronic pain ever since I woke up from my coma. Wow. I have any pain when I was in my coma, but...
And you still have pain now?
Oh, yeah. I'm almost to the point where if I have a day where I have no pain, I think there's something wrong.
Now, this could be a combination, Alan. Go ahead.
Have you, Jeremy, had days where you've had almost no pain?
Yes, I have.
Okay, all right. So this right here, for everybody who's listening out there, like, this is a great indication. This is one of the main things that we're looking for. You were in a horrific accident. You had all of these injuries, and it's very easy to believe my body was broken, and my body continues to be broken.
Right.
But the body is very regenerative. There was a guy that I worked with, a physical therapist, got in a motorcycle accident, and he broke literally every bone in his back. And 18 months later, he was pain-free. The body healed. And so when you say something like, there are days where I experience almost no pain, there is not a structural genesis for your pain. It is not anatomically consistent. If there's something structurally wrong with you, if you have a broken leg, it hurts every step you take. You're not going to, walk for a mile and have pain, and then walk for a block and not have pain. That's not
right. He's not going to have a day with no pain and then another day with pain. If it's physical, it's every day, right?
Exactly. So, Jeremy, that's one of the things that we look for. And even though you had such a horrific and tragic story, and your pain was absolutely caused by structural injuries at one point,
time.
It sounds like you really went through a lot. With what you told me, it is anatomically impossible for you to have a structural injury if you can go a day without pain. So the treatment that we talk